Hey, if you're getting this video, that means that you are a potential client and we might be working together. What a wonderful thing to be doing. Working together to hire some engineers or some IT support, some UX designers, or anything across the SDLC for your company so you guys can advance and carry out whatever your mission is. My name is Tim Wilkins and I am a freelance recruiter. I do have some people on my team, but for the most part it is just little old me and my YouTube channel and my many years of doing this craft. What I want to do with this video is just briefly introduce myself, let you know that I am a former software engineer. So I can speak your language if we speak in person or if you decide you want to move forward. That I absolutely can get into the weeds on the technical details, and that I've worked on pretty much every position across the SDLC at this point in my career from, if you call a graphic designer on the SDLC, I guess that's the very beginning of it, like graphic design. Really, it's the user ideation all the way to release engineers, deployment engineers, so on and so forth. But everything in that little window I've seen, worked on, probably recruited for. So the first thing that I would want to know if we were to work together is why? Why do you need to hire these folks? What are you guys trying to accomplish here? What is the main reason that you're looking for outside help? What have you tried and what has not worked for you? How many candidates are you trying to hire? What does the scale look like? Is it a one-off, we really need this, customer service rep to handle all of our incoming calls, or is it we need 6 engineers and we needed them yesterday? It could be any of those things. So my first question is why? Why do you need to make the hire? My second question would be, what does your process look like? A story really quick to kind of illustrate a point I'm going to make is I've worked with some clients where we were working with them for about a month and a half, and I hadn't been the one to qualify this client. I just kind of took it at my colleague's word that this was a client looking for work. And we had been working with them for 2 months, and we had only gotten, I think, one candidate to a full loop. And I knew that we had submitted quite a bit. So I was like, what is going on here? So we had a call with the hiring manager, and what ended up happening is they had very casually said, we've interviewed about 90 people, and for every 90, we have about 1 that will make it to an offer. With that, needless to say, we didn't continue working with that client anymore. It would have been nice to know that on the upfront, which is why I asked this question, because this is a hot market. It's the average tech position these days is open for about 40 days. That's it. And the average a software engineer is on the market for roughly 20 days. So this is happening very, very, very quickly. And I want to make sure that if we work together, that you understand that I will be qualifying these candidates very, very deeply before getting them to you. And I expect that if I send you 4 candidates, that you will not only at least speak to all of them, but that about 3 of them will get a shot at interviewing. And obviously, that's all fine and dandy if I'm sending you good candidates, but if I'm sending you kind of just random people, that wouldn't make sense to you. So there'll be a buffer period where you see what I can provide. But yeah, that would be my expectation. We don't want to miss out on talent on the market because we're too particular or too unrealistic about the time and resources and competition that we have with other companies for these in-demand candidates. And we also want to make sure that we have a nice, resilient process between us that we can rely on both our ends, so we can keep the engine moving and not have too many bottlenecks or challenges. So fee structure, you're probably curious about my fees. At this point in the market, if you're working with an agency, you're looking at roughly, I would say 25% is the standard. Tech recruiting is not what it used to be 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, even 2 years ago. It's considerably more difficult, but that is, an agency is going to have overhead cost. They might have an office, they pay for tools, so on and so forth, and they have a lot of mouths to feed. At RubberDuck Recruiting, we're not necessarily, I should say I'm, with the exception of a couple of people that I will reach out to help for large scale projects. We don't have all of that. So for me to stay competitive, I like to keep things I like to be able to give my clients a deal and maybe start at 20% and progressively go lower as we have more success. That can be a conversation that we have, but roughly speaking, for perm placements, we're going to be looking at 20%. Contract work is not something that I do right now. That is something that usually agencies are able to provide just because they have that capital on hand. And so I would just be doing full-time employees, and with that 3-month guarantee, which we could look at that in a prorated sense, but what that essentially means is that if for some reason our candidate doesn't work out, gets hired, but then doesn't work out after 3 months, that we can guarantee you another, that we will essentially pro bono replace that candidate, because we want to earn your business. We want to show you that it's not going to be one of those things where it's like, oh, it didn't work out, well, thanks for the money, bye. This is a relationship built on trust, built on, I give you something, you give me something, the give and take, the shared trust. And that's how I like to do business. So anyways, what else would I want to let you know or tell you? If you're a small to medium sized business, that tends to be my specialty, startup as well. And I have particular skills actually hiring other recruiters because of my recruiting channel. I have so many recruiters reaching out to me every day looking for consulting and looking for, tips to get ready for an interview or how to get into a FANG company. Or I guess it wouldn't be FANG anymore because Facebook is now Meta, so FANG. But that would be my specialty, hiring recruiters, and then anything in tech across the SDLC I've had experience in, so I'll be able to jump into the weeds. But for real quick turnover, I could definitely get you some recruiters. Some R for R is what we call it. And yeah, that's probably enough of your time. 7 minutes is enough. But that should cover most of what you would need to know about me if we were going to work together. So thank you for taking the time to listen to me, to meet me, and I hope that we can move forward and do some business. And as always, never give up.